Welcome to Srimad Bhagavatam session. We'll start from reciting prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Saiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tado Jayamudire Nasta Prayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama-sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Mukam Karoti Vachanam Pangum Lamgeti Girim Yatkrupatam Vande Shri Gurun Dinadarinam Paramananda Madhava Shri Chaitanya Ishwarai Om Tat Sat. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, canto 11, chapter 2, verse number 2. So just a recap. The name of the chapter is Maharaj Nimi meets 9 Yogendras. So as we discussed in our earlier session that Swayambhuva Manu's sons was Priyavrata, Priyavrata's son was Agnidhara, and Agnidhara's son was Nabi. So Lord Rishabhadev, the plenary portion of Vasudeva, incarnated as the son of Nabi. So Nabi's son was Rishabhadev. Rishabhadev has had 100 sons, and one of the sons is Bharata, and whose name our country was called Bharatavarsha. And Rishabhadev is also a plenary expansion of Vishnu. So and 9 other sons of Rishabhadev were widely known as Navayogendras. They are called Kavi, Havir, Antariksha, Prabuddha, Pipalyana, Avirhotra, Drumila, Chamasa, and Karabhajana. They were all well versed in knowledge of the self, fixed in their goal, and always striving for perfection. So all these 9 Yogendras, they are very expert in all the fields of spiritual education, and they know what is self, and they know what is self means to say the soul, and Paramatma, and what is the relationship between Atma and Paramatma. They are very good Kshetriya yogis, and they are expertise in all the Shastras. All these Navayogendras, they used to travel around the world and deliver the great Kshatriyas like Nabi Maharaj, like Maharaj Nimi. So when Narada Mahamuni came to Vasudeva's house, so Vasudeva was inquiring about, Narada Mahamuni was narrating about this Nimi Maharaj, how Nimi Maharaj encountered with 9 Navayogendras, and how Navayogendras relished the mellows of the spiritual life, and about the Bhagavad Dharma. So here the Navayogendras are free to move any part of the planet, since they were direct associates of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Madhusudana. So when they visited the kingdom of Nimi offered them the suitable seats and gave them Atiti Satkar and pleased them in a great manner. So Nimi started doing Shravanam about Bhagavad Dharma or pure devotion service to the Lord. Which is the only means to ultimate good fortune for the soul. So when Nimi inquired about the Bhagavad Dharma or the devotional service, in answer to the king's question, the 9 Yogendras, Kavi spoke as follows: those means of advancement which are described by the personality of God himself, and which enable even foolish persons easily to achieve perfect self-realization, are called Bhagavad Dharma. This Bhagavad Dharma manifested as service to the lotus feet of the infallible Supreme Lord eradicates all fear for the living being. By abiding in Bhagavad Dharma, we will never stumble or fall even while running with both eyes closed. Whatever one does, his body, mind, words, intelligence, consciousness, senses, and natural proclivities should all be offered to Lord Narayana. So, when Nimi asked the question, raised the question to Navayogendras in a very great humility, and one of the Navayogendras, Kavi, spoke as follows: that is, the means of advancement which are described by the personality of God are those who are those personality of God Himself, and which enable even foolish persons easily to achieve perfect self-realization, are called Bhagavad Dharma. So here the Kavi, the saintly person Kavi says, even the foolish person, if is utterly fit for anything, unqualified for everything, if such a person follows very sincerely and seriously the Bhagavad Dharma given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, definitely even the foolish person will become a great Vaishnava or a great pure devotee. Even if your eyes are closed and your mind, senses, all the parts of the body, if you engage your whole life dedicated to the Supreme, to serve to render the service, devotional service to Supreme Personality of Godhead, definitely you will achieve the perfection, definitely you will achieve the mukti. So that was the, and finally these saintly persons spoke about the three classes of devotees: first class, second class, and third class. And the first class devotee is there are three types of devotees: Kanishtadhikari, Madhyamadhikari, and Uttamadhikari. And Kanishtadhikari always shows respect to the deities in which he every day he renders services, but he never cares or he never gives due respects to any pure devotees of the Lord. So he is materialistic. He is a materialistic devotee. And the second class devotee definitely discriminates whether he is high class devotee or whether he is a low class devotee, and then he starts helping them. He starts giving all sorts of favor to the two particular type of a devotee. And the second class devotee always he will never accepts, or he will never responds which is unfavorable to Krishna consciousness. And one more thing, the second class, the Madhyamadhikari devotee always shows mercy to the Lord's devotees, and mercy for the ignorant, and indifference for the enemies of the Lord, Vishnu and Vaishnavas, is an intermediate devotee. And one who sees the presence of the high class devotee, one who sees the presence of Supreme Lord everywhere, in each and every part of a thing, in each and every part of thing in the whole planet, even plants, trees, small particles of sand, everywhere, whatever and see, wherever he sees in relation to the Lord. That's a top quality, that's the best quality of pure devotee. So the first verse says that Shri Sukavacha Govinda Bhuja Guptayam Dwarayantam Kurudvaha Avastin Narado Vikshanam Krishnopasana Lalasaha. Sukadeva Goswami said, eager to engage in the worship of Lord Krishna, our best of gurus, Narada Muni stayed for some time in Dwaraka. which was always protected by the arms of Govinda. So in the second chapter, when Narada Muni, in the second chapter it is fully described about the pure devotion service. When Narada Muni visited Vasudeva's house, Vasudeva was inquiring about the devotion, about the devotion service. Narada Muni cites a conversation between King Nimi and the Navayogendras. So according to Jiva Goswami, the word Abhikshanam indicates that although Narada Muni was frequently sent by Lord Krishna here and there for various pastimes such as inquiring about the affairs of the world, Narada continuously returned to reside in Dwaraka. So here Narada always, wherever he goes for preaching purposes, and he will see to that at any cost he will return to Dwaraka, because he stays in Dwaraka for a long time because he is under the protection of Govinda's arms. That is why he comes back to Dwaraka always. So he is under the protection of Govinda Bhujaguptayam. His arms are shown by the word. So the conditioned souls are struggling within the kingdom of Maya against the cruel laws of material nature, such as birth, death, old age, disease. But if such conditioned souls have the good fortune to enter the city of Supreme Personality, Dwaraka, Mathura, Vrindavan, and live under the direct protection of the omnipotent arms of the Supreme Lord. So here in the material world, conditioned souls are trapped by birth and death cycle. So when the conditioned souls when they realizes that I should get released from this birth and death cycle, then he has to stay in great dhams and spiritual dhams like Mathura, Vrindavan, Dwaraka. Then definitely where it is being protected by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, like in even now in Eka Chakra, it is fully under the protection of Nityananda Prabhu. So then they will experience unlimited transcendental bliss. Second verse. Konurajan indriyavan mukunda charanambujam na bhajet sravato mrutyur upasyam amarottamai. Purport, word by word meaning and translation given by the disciples of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Ka, who, no, indeed, Rajan, O king, Indriyavan, possessed of senses, Mukunda Charana Ambujam, the lotus feet of Lord Mukunda, Na Bhajet, would not worship, Sarvata Mrutyu, being faced by the death of all sides, Upashyam, worshipable, Amara Uttamai, by the best of liberated personalities. Translation. My dear king, in the material world, the conditioned souls are confronted by death at every step of life. Therefore, who among the conditioned souls would not render service to the lotus feet of Lord Mukunda, who is worshipable even for the greatest of liberated souls? So here in the translation, Maya says it, my dear king, in the material world, conditioned souls are confronted by death at every step of life. So there is a danger at every step in this material life for the conditioned souls. So as long as the material, the conditioned souls realizes that if at all I want to get free from this danger or the death, birth and death cycle, because there is always a danger of death every step. There is a mrutyu. Sarvato mrutyu. Everywhere mrutyu is there. Wherever we go, we cannot. It is not guaranteed like how Parikshit Maharaj got a word from curse from the Shringi that you are going to die in 7 days. For us, there is no notice or there is no information, any sort of information. We may leave the body at any time, at any moment. So that's why every moment is precious for us. Every second is precious for us. All the time we should remember Krishna. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskaro. So all the time we should worship Lord, we should remember Lord, we should pay obeisances, and we should always go on, keep on doing Shravanam and Kirtanam. So always chant the holy names of the Lord. So here the word Indriyavan is very significant because Indriyavan means senses. Although we are conditioned souls within material body, by the mercy of the Supreme Lord, we are awarded human body which possesses distinct senses such as eyes, ears, tongues, nose and skin. Generally, the conditioned souls use these senses in a false attempt. So here, there it is explained that although we have given the human body with these five panchendriyas, eyes, ears, nose, uh, uh, tongue, skin, still we are using or utilizing this, or we are getting exploited by material desires and material wants. We are always longing for all the things we have. We are always longing, or we are always striving to get pleased from these senses for the material benefits, for the material desires, for gratifying our senses, not for pleasing Lord, or not for fulfilling the spiritual desires of the spiritual master. So when we are trying to do gratify senses, then definitely we will get stumbled there. So we cannot get up, and we will be the victim of the illusory energy, the Maya. So that is why, in fact, was strenuous endeavors by possessing the materially satisfied. We are not able to get all those things, because we will get trapped by Mayas. We will get slapped, and we will be kicked we will be blown by Maya's internal the Maya's energy. So being sexually aroused. So if a man get attracts to women, and both will have the relationship, and they will get married, and they will get children, and he will get entrapped with that. So when he gets trapped with that cycle, the family cycle, the parivara, the samsara, then we have to work hard and then support the demands of his family. So in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Kapila describes very clearly that in spite of exhausting work a man performs throughout his life, his family is ultimately dissatisfied. See, it's not bad. It's not that we have to get married, get children, and earn money, and do support for the family, for the parivar. But we have to do it. But finally, what happens? See, in everybody's life, especially in cosmopolitan cities, no children will be there. Even though some children will be abroad, and parents will be separated, and there are a lot of insecurity feeling for the parents. So though they brought and nurtured and cultivates their children in a great expectations, but finally what happens? Both will be segregated, both will be separated, both will be excluded. So both will be in different parts. We cannot reciprocate. Only through verbalism we can reciprocate, but we cannot enjoy the real life as the people were enjoying in the earlier years. No, they were having joint family, Hindu joint family, like that we cannot have now, because everybody wants to earn more, and finally what happens? They lose all the spiritual activities. They will not have any opportunity or chance to practice Bhagavad Dharma, and finally what happens? We will totally neglect the aim of human life, what really Lord wants to do us by giving this human birth. So that is why Lord Kapila instructs, though man supports his family, finally he will be driven out of the house. And even though if he is in the house, then his grandchildren or children, they were waiting for him to die. Somehow or other we should put him in some old age institutions, or we should drive him off, because he is a big burden for us. See the piteous condition of a man. So though he struggles hard for his wife, family, children and grandchildren, finally he will be kicked off from the family. So many precarious conditions happens like this, especially in this material world. So that is why better we have to always depend on the Mukunda, the giver of liberation. So nowadays people strongly resent the trouble of caring for elderly parents, and therefore send them to the institution. So nowadays, some people desiring material sense gratification but hoping to avoid inconvenience of family try to enjoy free sexual relations with women without the trouble of marriage. Though through birth control and abortion, they eliminate the disturbance of caring for children. So in this way, they hope to enjoy material sense gratification without any material impediment. By the laws of nature, however, such persons becomes bound in a network sinful reactions by avoiding the real sense, the real duty to the Supreme Personality, and by thoughtlessly causing violence and suffering to others for increasing their own sense gratification. So here in this modern world, in this modern society, the center for attraction is the gratifying the senses. So because of the sense gratification, so they may give trouble or they may harm other living entities also by doing this. So they go to such an extent, even they are ready to slaughter animals, they are ready to kill other living beings to earn money and to gratify their senses and to have different illegal relationships. They are ready to do what sort of a nonsense also they are ready to do it. So by doing all these things, they forget totally the aim of human life, and they also forget the discrimination and the rationality and and they lose their intelligence by doing all these things. So they will become dull head. Therefore it is stated here, Sarvato Mrityu means death. So death suddenly appears, startling such confident sense gratification destroys their entire program of so-called material happiness. So often such persons are afflicted with ghastly diseases and undergo inconceivable sufferings which ends in death. So after enjoying so many things in different forms, in different manners, in different places, finally they will succumb to death by having the innumerable diseases in their body. So that is the final parinama, that is the final result of the person who are fully engaged in gratifying the senses. Because of an excessive accumulation of sinful results, they are forced into situations of great distress by the loss of karma. Sinking down into the lower space of life, they lose awareness that which lies beyond their gross material desires. So here one more point is mentioned, that in this way they blindly ignore the laws of nature. So they not even cared of any laws of nature. So they will not even think of it. They will not even analyze. If I go against the laws of nature, what will be the result and what will be my destination? So there are so many consequences I have to face. All these things they will never even think of it. So by not thinking of this, they accumulate excessive sinful results, and they are forced into situations of great distress by the loss of karma. So sinking down into the lower species of life, they lose awareness of that which lies beyond their gross material senses. Sometimes a living being is able to understand the miserable result of materialistic grass and sense gratification. Being frustrated by pain and suffering of materialistic life and being ignorant of any superior life, he adopts a neo-Buddhist philosophy and seeks shelter in so-called nothingnessness. So sometimes some living beings they are able to understand the miserable result of materialistic sense gratification. So after getting all these frustrations and consequences, they sometimes understand the miserable result of materialistic sense gratification. And being frustrated by the pain and suffering of materialistic life and being ignorant of any superior life, he adopts a neo-Buddhist philosophy. So some living entities, they adopt the neo-Buddhist philosophy, which their philosophy is called nothingness. Everything is zero. Just simply keep quiet and just meditate on nothing. Meditate on zero. What a foolish persons they are, and what a ignorant persons they are, and they are really in tamoguna. They don't know anything. Just meditating on something. which is it doesn't have any form, which doesn't have nothing is at all. Just meditate on zero, that's all. That is called Buddhism. That is the philosophy of Buddhism. That is called null and void. So the desire to meaning, the desire to merge into nothingness is a reaction against material pain. It is not a tangible concept of supreme. For example, if I feel unbearable pain in my leg, so leg and the pain cannot be stopped. It cannot be cured. I may finally agree to have any leg amputated, but it is far better to remove pain and keep my leg. Similarly, because of the false ego, we think. So sometimes because of false ego, if you have lot of pain in my leg and the pain cannot be cured, then I will think I will just amputate the leg so that the pain will be cleared. So sometimes if you have cataract in the eyes, now we say just we'll remove the eyes. If you have cold in the nose, just remove the nose. So it's not the intelligent persons will do that. So the foolish persons will remove those, but intelligent persons will try to cure the pain, will try to cure the disease and relieve from the pain. And they take different treatments for that. Because of false ego, we think I am everything, I am the most intelligent person, I am very clever, I am very brilliant, I am very diligent, nobody is greater than me, and he tries to underestimate all other persons. So that is called false ego. So for this, the solution is as soon as we realize or we purify the ego, then admitting that we are insignificant soul before the Supreme Personality of God or before eternal servants of the Lord. So then our ego will give us great pleasure, great pleasure. So Krishna here, the Lord of the blissfully variegated spiritual sky called Vaikuntha, is always absorbed in transcendent enjoyment. In fact, Sri Krishna is the reservoir of all pleasure. People absorbed in materialistic enjoyment are bound by the loss of omnipresent death. But if we endeavor, instead to serve the Supreme Personality of God, we can immediately be connected to His Hladini Shakti or blissful potency. So there are three potencies are there. The major potencies are of Lord is internal potency, marginal potency, and external potency. Internal potency is Hladini Shakti, which is the pressure potency of Lord, and the marginal potency is all the living entities, 84 lakhs of living entities, and the external energy is the separated energy of Lord, that is illusory energy, that is Maya, this material world. So when the living entity thinks I want to enjoy here, when the marginal potency wants to enjoy in this so-called material world, then definitely he will be punished by the Maya Devi. And when if he is good fortune, then he will somehow or other get association from the pure devotees. Then he tries to serve Hladini Shakti, the pressure potency of the Lord. Then he will be freed from this birth and death cycle. And he will be freed from the material distress also. Sarvato Mrityu also indicates that birth and death occur on every planet in the universe. Therefore, our so-called space travel and cosmic consciousness are useless, since there is eternal life anywhere within the material consciousness. In conclusion, to understand the futility of engaging in service of anything other than Krishna and to engage instead in serving that which is eternal and full of bliss is the highest possible development of intelligence. So, in conclusion of this verse, we have to understand that if we tries to enjoy for our own benefit and for our own pleasure, for our own happiness, then definitely we will be victim for the material distress. So instead of that, if it tries to please Krishna's senses, the master of the senses, Rishikesh, then definitely we will engage in pure devotional service. So that is why we have to learn, discriminate between which is temporary and which is useless, and that which is eternal and which is real. That we have to discriminate. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Thank you all so much.